We do API management, so we help companies that have APIs to manage the developer community, to know who is doing what with their API. I'm the evangelist, I'm Nicholas. I'm based out of Barcelona, but we also have office in San Francisco. We're hiring a bunch of people in different roles, so if you're looking for a job in the cool city of Barcelona or in San Francisco, you should talk to me. Very happy to have TheFamily here because it's an ongoing relationship. We started with some events in Paris, and now that they're in Barcelona, we have to show them that the community of Barcelona is growing and there are a lot of stuff happening here. So, Gilles, very happy to have you here.
Thank you very much. So, just a quick word about TheFamily. I don't know who come to TheFamily meetup for the first time. Please raise your hands. Okay, so about half of the crowd. So just to let you know, at TheFamily, we are mainly based in Paris, coming to Barcelona. We offer three things to startups. First one is education, like tonight, on a lot, of course, a lot of video also on YouTube. You can check after this conference, for example. We offer for our startups, we offer some unfair advantages, such as a lot of discounts about all the service you are using, such as Amazon Web Service or Intercom or whatever. And last but not least, we are offering also some capital. So we are able to invest in the startups we are working with. So we are very happy to come to Barcelona, and I hope that we have the occasion to speak together. So today I'm going to speak about Google Analytics. I guess a lot of you are using this tool. It's the main tools for analytics of websites. It's a bit long, so I'm trying to make the presentation as not too long, but perhaps at the end I guess that I am going to accelerate a little bit. Just to let you know now that you have two versions of Google Analytics. There is the old version and there is the new version. So if you have installed Google Analytics for less than, I would say, 18 months about, you are probably using the most recent version. And you can see which version you are using if you are looking at in the JavaScript code you are putting in your website. If you are using this file, it's the old version. If you are using this file, it's the new version. If you are using the old version, keep it. It's okay. You don't need to update it. It will be too much complicated for what it will bring to you. But I'm going to talk about the new version. So, as everybody knows, this is a typical screen of Google Analytics. So you can see a lot of numbers, a lot of figures. So we're going to try to explain where these numbers are coming from and how you will be able to use them actually. So I'm an engineer. So in some part I will be a bit technical, but I think really that it's important for everybody to understand how Google Analytics is working, to be able to understand where these numbers are coming from. So how does it work, Google Analytics? So typically, this is your server for your website. This is one of your users. She's currently using a website, and this is you. Okay. So when this user opens your website, the browser will do a request to your website, and your website are sending to the browser all the content of the page. And within the content of the page, you will have included, the JavaScript that Google Analytics have asked you to put in the page. And when the browser will execute this JavaScript, it will do a lot of some few things, such as actually downloaded a more complicated file and execute this file. Then, if the user is not already known, if this user has not already came to your website, if it's the first visit, it will create and put a cookie. The cookie is actually a little file on your browser. And after that, for each action the user will do, it will send information to the Google servers. So this is the database of Google, storing all the information of what your users are doing from your website. And yourself, you are logging to Google Analytics to try to have some information about what your users are doing. Okay? So the important part is this one. Keep in mind that everything that you are going to see in your dashboard will come actually from every request done by the user to the Google Analytics server. So what is a user for Google Analytics? This is a user for Google Analytics. So it's not you, it's not me, it's actually a user for Google Analytics. It's what we call a cookie. It's a little file stored in your browser. It's with a unique ID, such like this one. It's important to understand that because, for example, if yourself you are using one Google Chrome, for example, to go to my website, I will see you as a user. But when you are going on the street and you are using your mobile, you will appear on Google Analytics like another user. You know, because the cookie store in your website, in your mobile, is not the same as the cookie store in your browser. And if you go home, then you will, for me, you will be a third user. So what Google Analytics is calling user is actually a browser. So keep that in mind to understand what the tool is telling you. Okay, another thing. What is a hit? A hit is basically a call of your browser to Google Analytics. Okay, so every information you want to see at Google Analytics, you must have a call from your website to the Google web server. There is no magic, you know. If you want to have some information from your user or for any usage, you need to have a call from your website to the Google Analytics server. So usually the most basic one is for example, to record a page view. And so the JavaScript triggered to record a page view is actually by default in the code you embed in each page of your website. So, but what I want to tell you here is that every information you will have on Google Analytics is recorded as a call between the browser of your users to Google Analytics servers. During some time, for each of these calls, Google will also record more information. Sorry? Oh. Google will also record more information, such as the type of browser the user is using, the language, the screen size, and every information actually that the user is able to find, it will send them to Google. I know it's a bit scary. It's like this. If you want yourself to know this information, this is what you have to do, is to allow Google to know them. So every information Google knows is sent from the browser of your users, and everything else is calculated by Google. Okay, and the last point before going to the interface. Each time you implement Google Analytics in your website, you know Google Analytics, they give you a little script to add in each page of your website. So please add it to each page of your website. It means not only half of the page, not really each page. Because if you don't, it will be very complicated to understand what happened in your website, and you can a bit lose about that, but it's very common to forget to include this little code in each page. For example, a lot of people does not think about forget to add this code in the error page. Or the error like error 500 or 404. It's interesting to have the code in this page because it's a way to measure how often this page are displayed, for example. So to check your implementation, please use the real-time view. We will see you have somewhere in the dashboard the ability to see what the user are doing in real time. So do that. Click load a page and just check that someone is loading this page right now. It's you. Okay. Do not use a privacy protecting tool. Each time, only half of the time, someone is coming to me, say, "Hey, the Google Analytics does not work. I do not manage to have my configuration working." Actually, they have something like this installed. So something like this, tell the browser to not send anything to Google Analytics, because it's a privacy protecting tool. So you can. This is what it does. So if you want to check your implementation, do not use this. And if your user are using this, then you will know nothing about that. And a last advice, add the Google Analytics Debugger Google extension on Google Chrome. It will allow you to see whatever is sent to Google Analytics in a much more enjoyable way. This is an enjoyable way for me. Okay, and check that Google Analytics is installed on every page, including the error. So I'm going to speak a little bit about I'm going to make a focus on five points. First one is the most obvious, is usually what you are saying firstly. It's a page view. What is a page view, actually? Page view is basically usually it's sort of the URL. So if you are each time a user is seeing a page of your website, it's supposed to trigger a page view at the Google Analytics. Okay, so in your dashboard you will have this type of information. For example, in the behavior tab. You will have, for example, the URL of the page and the number of page views you have from your users. For example, here at the home page, we have 256 page views during a range of dates. So, for example, in this case, it's something like, I don't know, 2 or 3 days. Okay, what really a page view is? Actually, the page view is when the little code in your page is executed like this, this function GA send page view. And each time this code is executed, then Google Analytics record a page view. Okay? This code is already installed per default in the code Google Analytics ask you to put in your page. So per default, if you did that, you will be recording each page view from your users. Okay? An interesting trick to know is that this page can be virtual. It means that, for example, if you manage a full JavaScript website, you have a problem because you don't have any URL change, for example, in this case. But you can artificially trigger some page views using this type of syntax. So you add the URL in this case, and Google Analytics will just record the URL as a classical page views. So if you, for example, if you have a funnel where everything is done in JavaScript, you can still emulate the page views with this type of syntax in your page. Okay. So in the dashboard, I come back to the typical page view dashboard. So I can see the URL there. You can see the number of page views of all your users from in the range date I've chosen. Then you have a lot of other columns. Usually these columns are nearly impossible to understand. I'm going to try to give some example about that. Unique page views. I don't know which people have chosen the name in Google Analytics, but they need to be finished in some way, I don't know why. Okay, unique page views actually is the number of sessions where this page have been seen by users. So in this example, we have had 29 sessions of users where the page about have been seen. Okay? And so you can imagine, for example, the number here is the total of this. And if you think about it, it has absolutely no meaning. So it's just the sum of the number of sessions where each page is shown. So you should just avoid to see that, to read that number, because it does not mean anything.
So why does it say unique? What is unique about that set of page views, that count of page views?
Yeah, it's unique in the sense that if you see it twice or 3 times in the session, it will be counted as once, as one.
So it's unique per session.
It's unique per session.
User.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And a lot of things are content per session on Google Analytics. Just forget to tell you. You just have to know. So this is the number of sessions actually where this page is seen. Okay. So forget this number. It does not mean anything. Average time on page. We'll talk about that. Usually, it's not. It's not a good number, so I'm skipping it. I will speak about it later. Entrance, in this case, it's a number of sessions where this page was the first one. Okay, so I can see that most of my users are coming in the home page, and some are entering in the pricing page or. So I can understand that. The bounce rate. Do you know what the bounce rate is? Can you tell us?
It's like how many times a user actually return back to. It's like how many times a user actually return back to from your home page to the actual search result.
For example, for this number.
The 3 is entrance. Oh, yeah.
Sorry, this one.
The bounce rate is 66%. That 66% of the time the user actually left the home page without actually going to the other, other contents or other pages.
Nearly. Actually, it's 66% of all the session that begins at about one-page session. So it means that on this 3 sessions, actually 2 of them have just seen this page and not another one. It's silly. It's complicated. So the bounce rate is calculated relatively to all the sessions at beginning by the page. Okay.
So the 66% of those 3 people after.
It means that 2 sessions of you can see it's quite easy in this case. You have 3 sessions. So bounce rate is 2/3. So it means that 2 sessions. In 2 sessions, the user have seen only this page.
And then they just.
And then left. Yeah. After that, it's a question of interpretation. It's very difficult to say if the bounce rate is a good or bad thing, for example, or if it's the same for the average time on page. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? It depends a lot of your website. For example, if you are a blog, it's quite normal to have a big bounce rate because the guy is coming to read an article and after he read the article he left. It's okay, and it can be okay also to have quite a large average time on page, for example, because it's reading the article. But for some other websites, if you have a lot of time on your page, it can be because the user does not understand the shit about what you are doing or trying to find something useful in it. Okay, so it's difficult to interpret, depending a lot of what you are doing.
How does that work if the user opens parts of your website in different tabs? Does that count as one session?
Yeah, if the user open in a different tab, as far as I know, it stays as the same session.
Okay,
Because no, I'm wrong?
Oh, that's right. No,
Yeah.
no, I think it's right.
Because the cookie is shared between the browser. Yes.
Just one, I have one question I was always wondering about, which is why does Google Analytics base all of its data on sessions instead of users? Because usually what you do for your conversion rate, you take your users and you take the number of views. But for Google, it's always about sessions.
The question is why Google Analytics is based mainly on session instead of users. I guess that the main reason is that Google Analytics was created at a time where the main type of website was actually media, and it was the blog or news website or this type of website. More and more the focus has been put now in modern website on users with the SaaS, for example, this type of things. Google Analytics is not well adapted to that. It's not, you probably should use something like Mixpanel, for example, in such a case. But what I think is actually it's because it's a technology that have been built at the time where you are just basically calculating the page view because the only thing you were interested in was the number of page views to be able to sell advertising. Basically, at the time.
Because they do have users on the website as well.
They have cookies.
Well, you can use users if you want.
You can use
everything else besides that is based on sessions.
Yeah, no, nearly everything is based on sessions. They have announced 2 years ago, I believe, that they will focus on users, but they did not really manage to do that.
Okay. It might be a technical issue then.
Probably. And it's so huge, so you can, I guess you cannot imagine how much data they are manipulating in Google server. So I guess the evolution of the platform is really tricky for them.
It could be because tracking users when a user's interaction with your site is spread across multiple browsers, multiple platforms, it becomes difficult to correlate all of that into one user thing. So session is at least, it may not be what you want, but at least it's easy to get.
Yeah, absolutely. So the remark was that it's difficult to know if when the same user is coming, if it's coming from different devices. And that's right. But now you have an option to do that. If you are, yes, you have an option. If you can activate an option to do this type of gathering, if you are able to provide the Google Analytics with user ID, then Google Analytics will be able to use this user ID instead of the cookie ID. So, but it's still a bit in beta. So I don't know if a lot of people are understanding what the implication are. But you can do that now. Okay, percentage of exits, for example. Who knows what does it mean? Nobody dares now.
For how many sessions is that the last page that they viewed? For what portion of sessions? For what portion of sessions is that the last page that the user viewed?
I don't think so.
No?
Not really, as far as I understood. The percentage exit is for all the session for all the session that's for which the user have seen the about page, all of them, it's been something like 29. Then we have 21% where it was the last page. It's not the same. So
Right. Oh, that's good. Yeah.
okay.
Great.
So, for example, for all the sessions where the user has seen the home page, then the home page was the last for 54%.
But what's the difference between this and bounce rate?
Bounce rate is defined for a session where the home page is the first one. Okay? Percentage of exist is defined for the session where the home page is reached. Okay? I'm not going to talk about page video. It was just some example just to try to convince you to stay simple with Google Analytics, because it's really complicated in some cases to understand what does it mean. Usually, the more the column is on the right, the more complicated is it. So please stay simple and just on very simple value you understand and use them. Do you have any questions? No? Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the events. The events are very useful. You can trigger them each time a user does something that interests you and you want to know they are doing something. For example, if you have some videos on your website, you can record when the video is played or paused. You can count each time a user is downloading a white paper, for example. You can count about account creation, error tracking, whatever you want, whatever is interest you, you can count it with events. So in the in the behavior tab, you have the events dashboard, and you have the name of the event and the number of events we will see later. Okay, what is an event actually? So again, there is no magic. If you want to record something, you have to tell Google Analytics to record it. Okay? So if you want to record when someone is, I don't know, downloading a white paper, then when a user is downloading a white paper, you have to ask Google Analytics to record this. What does it mean? Basically, is that you have to ask your developers to add some JavaScript code into your page, at least when you have this event, to tell Google Analytics to send this information that we have an event, and you choose a category, for example, in this case, white paper, an action, for example, download, a label, for example, the title of the white paper, the value, if you want to add a value, and a boolean about interaction. I will talk a bit more about that later. But what is important is you are in charge of implementing this event. So there is no magic. Google Analytics will not be able to know what you want to do. If you want to record something, then you have to ask your developer to put this JavaScript in your website. So what do we have? So we have behavior, events, we have the category of the events, category. What Google Analytics is going to show you in the dashboard is basically what you have tell Google Analytics in this call, you know. So the category here, what you will see in the dashboard is it's what you have put here, category, okay? This game is video. Okay, so you can select the category. For example, in my example is cart order, something like that. Cart, for example, is probably for a website where you someone had an item in a cart. So if you want to check how many times an item is added in the cart, you can configure an event. and with the event category cart on the action add, for example. And the label is probably the ID of the item. Okay, we have the total number of the event. This one is quite simple. Is you know, each time an event is triggered, then you count it. And then you have unique events. So, like the same, a bit the same. Who knows what unique event is? Nobody does. It's a bit the same that for the pages. It's unique events. It's not a number of events. It's tricky. It's a number of sessions where the event has been seen. Okay. So the cart event have been seen 1,183 times. In 1,183 sessions. Okay. So unique events, it's a number of sessions actually. The value of the event is basically what you have. Oops, sorry. What you have put here.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
So if the event happened twice a session, it will not be counted twice over there.
It will become twice here in this column and only once in this column.
Yeah. The event, the combination about category, action, and label.
Yes.
So
Yes, you're right. I have.
Action and a different label in the same session is double counted on the unique event.
The remark is that if it will be counted as a unique event only if it's the same category, action, and label. I'm not sure about that, but I think you're right.
Because, for example, if you have category cart, action, add product, and then you have different type events because you have different products added to the cart, you have different unique event count.
Yeah, absolutely. The event is defined by these three data: category, action, and label. And so a unique event is a set of unique category, action, and label. And if something changes on this, that it won't be unique. Is that clear? Yes? So let's talk a little bit about the session also. So a session is, I would say, triggered each time a user comes back to your website. So you intuitively know what is a session, and you know when a user connect to your website or just read something in your website, he navigate on it 20 minutes and then leave. Then you have a session here. Okay. But there is no session information sent to Google. The only information sent to Google is just the basic event or basic page view. So the question is how a session is defined actually for Google. So for Google, on a unique device, a user, the session is actually a set of interaction grouped by within a given time frame. So, for example, a user arrives on a website, then you open a page, you read another article, perhaps you buy something, you read the video, and then it does nothing. It does nothing for more than 30 minutes, and a session closes after 30 minutes of inactivity. So if the user does nothing after more than 30 minutes, then Google will consider that this is a session. Okay? If the user comes back after 25 minutes, then the session actually continues. It will be considered, it will be interpreted as a unique session. So this is really a definition by Google. So you have to know the definition to be able to interpret what the number you are seeing. Okay, so there is 3 cases to close a session. The first one is more than 30 minutes of inactivity. The second one is midnight. If you have someone arriving to your website 5 to midnight at midnight, it will be a new session. Okay. And the third one is something a bit technical, but if the combined source of your user is changing, it means, for example, if your user, a strange example is, for example, imagine that your user is browsing your website, then is going to your email, click to one of your marketing later, opening a new page, then in this case, this new page will be a new session. Because it's coming from a different company source. I will talk about that later. Okay, this is a tricky case, but most of the case you can just think about the session like is 30 minutes of activity. Is that clear for your sessions? Yes, question.
I think it's a little odd with the midnight. We have 24 time zones. According to which time zone do they calculate?
You're engineer, right?
Sorry?
You're engineer.
Yeah, I'm an
Yes.
engineer,
The question was that it's strange to have a midnight criteria as we can have different time zones. That's right. That's why you are defining your time zone in Google, and you can define your time zone in Google Analytics administration.
So it's just according to the time zone we define.
Yes.
But it doesn't matter where the user comes from.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, because when you look at your dashboard and you see that the user is coming at 11 p.m., for example, it is your time most of the time. It's not the time of the user. If not, it will be very difficult to interpret it. If you are focusing on the time zone of the user coming from worldwide, it will be a bit a mess. Okay. So now, for example, if you are overview of the audience dashboard, you can see number of sessions. So the number of sessions it's a number of this set of interaction of the users. Number of users, I've done number of sessions. So for example, in this case, you have something like 2 sessions by user. I remind you, a user is actually a device. It's not a physical person, no? It's a device. It's important to understand that. And so we have about 20,000 users, about 40,000 sessions, and a lot of pages in this case. New visitor. New visitor is actually a visitor coming for the first time. What does it mean? It means a visitor that does not have any cookie yet. So if I open a page, then I go to another browser and I open another page, or the same page, your website. It's going to be 2 users. And if I've never visited your website with the second browser, it will be a new visitor. Okay? And if you change mobile, then it will be each time, each website you are connecting it, you will be a new visitor. Okay? What other information do we have? Number of page per session, this one is quite easy. The session duration, I like this one. I'm going to talk about it later. Bounce rates, it's a global bounce rate. So the bounce rate, it's the number of sessions that have only one page view. Okay? So in this case, 40% of all the sessions only have one page. And we have 8 pages per session, so it means we have a lot of users that just see just one page, and a lot of users are seeing a lot of pages. So we can try to understand that we have 2 types of users probably in this website. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about goals. In my Point of view goals are one of the most important things in Google Analytics, and I urge you to define some goals in Google Analytics, because if you do not define goals in Google Analytics, you cannot improve. As a lot of people are saying, you cannot improve what you are not measuring. So, what goals are done for? You can decide, for example, in your case, depending a lot of what you are doing, you can decide that your goal is to maximize the number of account creation, for example, if you are a social network. If you're e-commerce websites, probably you will define your goals as transaction. But you can have secondary goals like the number of share. You can define that it's very important for you to have some share on social networks. So you can put this as a goal. Or if you are a website such as Yelp, for example, you can decide that it's very important for you to have a lot of comments. It's up to you. You are defining the goal. But whatever you are doing, just choose your goal, because you need to measure what you want to improve. Yes?
Can you choose different goals?
Yes, okay, you can choose. I do not remember if we have a limit on the number of goals. But 20? Okay. 20 can be small, but actually I recommend you to only have 2 or 3 goals. Because if you have a lot of goals, it will be difficult to follow, and you have to be focused on a very simple objective. Okay, how to define a goal? So you have to go to the administration of Google Analytics part, and I'm not going to go through all page, but the most important one is this one. It's the type of the goal. So you have 4 types of goals. First one is destination. It means that the goal is reached as soon as the user reaches a certain page. For example, if you are an e-commerce website, you should have a thank you website, a thank you page, for example, after ordering something. And you will put this thank you page as a destination goal, and you know that each time a user is reaching this page, it means that he has ordered something. Please be sure that he cannot go to this page by another way. It's important. If not, you will not understand what is happening in your website. You can have an objective, a goal set as a duration. For example, I want my user to stay more than 10 minutes in my website. I'm not really sure of the use case in this one, but you can have also a goal of number of pages per session. I want my user to see more than 5 pages per session. Okay. And the second most important with the first one type of goal is event. So I want my user to have an event a specific event in my session. For example, it's very important for me that my white paper is downloaded, and so I will implement an event for the download of the white paper, and I will set a goal to tell Google Analytics that this event is for me a goal. Okay, just a quick bit more detail about the destination goal. Destination goal is when you are choosing that the goal is reached when the user reaches a certain page. Then you decide here the URL of the destination page. By default, it's not case sensitive. Be careful about that. You have to decide if it's not yes or not case sensitive. I recommend you to be not case sensitive. and I recommend you to not use any uppercase in your URL in general way. Okay, you can use the exact URL. You can use also, there is 3 options. The exact URL begins with. If you have some parameters at the end of the URL, you have to use begins with, because the parameters are included in the URL criteria. And you can use also regular expression. I will just have a quick word on this regular expression for the engineers. For example, in this case, if you put this beautiful regular expression as a goal, then you will target all the sessions where the user is reaching a page such as zone.fr or zone.es, for example. Okay? So if you want to know more about regular expression, you have a lot of documentation. But just to let you know that in the goal, you can have you can set a unique goal that will be triggered with different pages using regular expression if you need to. Okay, so assuming you have defined your goals, then you are now able to go to your dashboard in the conversions tab and see the goal, how many of your sessions have reached goals. Because basically the goals are defined by session. Okay. And be careful, this is one important thing. For example, I have a goal here. I'm sure you cannot read, so I tell you it's the page is to reach the page book/review. I have 209 goals reached in this date range. What does it mean for you?
Nothing.
Do you have an idea? Someone, please. So, in the date range, 200 users of different Google stations. So, for example, you want to know how the user who are using a Chrome browser are acting differently than user with Firefox browser. It's not very this one. I'm not sure it's very interesting, but you can, for example, analyze the behavior of the people coming from Facebook and the behavior from people coming from whatever, I don't know, Instagram or this type of things, to understand what they are doing. You have a lot in Google Analytics of predefined segments, probably too much. But for example, you have you can define you have predefined segments such as the people coming from search. Organic traffic means basically in this case that they are coming from search engines. Paid traffic means that they are coming from it's paid traffic such as AdWords, for example. Referral traffic is people session that are identified like as coming from other websites. This type of things. So you can, for example, try to see what are the difference of behavior between people coming from the Google search engine or from people coming from AdWords or this type of thing. Okay? And you can do also a very, very interesting analysis. One of my favorites is this one. This is a very classical website, and if you do the exercise with yours, I'm pretty sure you will obtain the same results, and you will be shocked, actually, what's happened here. Okay, the slide is already a bit old, but version. In blue, we have the session of people. In the blue segments is all the users for which the first session was in December 14. Okay, so they are all in blue. And in green, it's all the users for which the first session was in January 15. And in orange, it's all users for which the first session was in February 15. Okay, so what you can see, of course, all the blue, it's normal, you can have the others at the beginning. So it's all the new users of December here. And then you realize that 1 month later you have none of them, nearly. So all the people coming here, you are losing them. Okay? Because nearly nobody 1 month after and 2 months after. But okay, but I have new users, probably bought by the search engine, by Google SEO. Okay, so my audience, it's flat, but I can imagine that I have a regular audience, regular people coming to my website. It's not the case at all. Actually, you have some people coming completely by chance, and nobody of them come back. Okay, so if you want to improve your performance as a website, you have to be sure that when someone meets your website for the first time, that he will come back 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, or 2 months later. If not, what you are doing actually is just losing everybody and trying to have new people fill what you lost. Okay. So this is an example of the type of analysis you can do with segments. And I like this one because usually it shows you really you have a problem, which is you don't have enough retention. Don't worry, it's a very classical problem in the website. But if you do this type of analysis, then you understand it and you can work on it. Do you have any question on this? Is that clear? So you can, this type of analysis is really easy to do. You can do it in 5 minutes when you come back to your office, and I'm pretty sure that you will have this type of results, and it will provide you a new way to think about what you are doing on your website. Perhaps less focusing on adding new users and more about keeping those you have. Talking about that, Google Analytics have proposed new tools in beta today. It's in beta actually for 2 years, but which are the cohort analysis. It's more or less the same that I did manually in the previous slide. Who knows the terms, the words cohort analysis? You need to check that. It's very important. Please look at that Google cohort analysis. It's very important because it tells you actually if you have some retention, if your website retention is, it basically is if a user is coming, for example, this week, if I have a new user this week, does he come back again the week after, and the week after, 2 weeks after, 3 weeks after? In this case, it's not the case. Okay, I have a new user, and the week after I have nobody. Okay? So I lost everyone. So you need to do this type of analysis to understand what type of problem you have. Okay? It's very important. It's less important if you are doing newspaper, of course, but if you are doing something like a SaaS or this type of website, is absolutely mandatory. Okay, so now I'm going just to add a few words about the configuration of Google Analytics, because it can be a bit cumbersome also. This is the dashboard of the administration of Google Analytics. So you have 3 columns. First one is accounts. Second one is property. And third one is view. What does it mean? Actually, accounts is basically your company. Most of the time, you will have only one account. if you except if you are a web agency, for example, you can have perhaps an account by customer, but if you have it's your own website on your own product, probably you will have only one account. The second one is actually it's called property. It's your product. It's your, again, most of the time you will have only one. Actually, you can see this like the data store of your product. It means that if you have two property, you will have two databases, and you will not be able to do any analysis comparing the data between both. So, for example, if you have a website and you have a mobile application, it could be a good idea to only have one product, one property for both, so not to create two properties, because if you are creating two properties, you will not be able actually to understand, to do any relation between the website and the mobile application. Okay? It's probably better to put all the data in one database, in one place, and it means that only one property. Okay? So if you want to try to imagine if you need 1, 2, or 3 property, try to see them as database. Do I need to put my data in the same database or not? Okay?
Is it possible to create, to merge two
No,
properties?
it's not possible. The question is, is it possible to merge? If we have two properties, to merge the information? No. It's not possible to merge them. And a general principle for Google Analytics also is that it's not possible to go backwards in time. So what you do not do now, it's lost forever. Okay, the third one is the views. The views is only a way to see the data you have in properties. I will explain this a little more. But basically, for example, in the example I gave of a mobile site and mobile application, you can define a view to do some analysis only on data coming from the mobile site, and another view to do analysis only coming from data from the website. Okay, all the data are inside this database, I would say, but you can define different views to see only a part, to do analysis only on part of this data. So views is for engineers that used to database. It's something they are used to also. So if you need only one database, use one property. After, if you need to do some specific analysis, use the view in order to do this analysis. For example, for the application, for the website, for whatever you want. I will enter in more details. So just a few words about the configuration of the icons. Okay, please check this one. This is to allow Google to, yes, your question?
You mentioned about the mobile application. How does it actually work, the Google Analytics mobile applications?
The question is about how Google Analytics works with mobile application. Google Analytics basically as a SDK you can implement in your application. So you need to build, if it's a mobile website, you need to do the same thing like in a classical website, but if it's an application, native application, then you have to use the Google Analytics SDK.
Just the extra code to the code of the...
Yes, it's a code your developer will be able to do. So about the account, please check this one. It's to allow Google Analytics to share the data between Google Analytics and other type of Google services, such as AdWords or Google Webmaster or this type of things. It's interesting for you because it will bring you more tools. And if you do not allow Google Analytics to share this data, then you won't be able to do any analysis between, for example, your AdWords and your analytics. I recommend also to check this benchmarking. It basically is a way to you authorize Google to compare your data to other websites, and so you are giving basically your data to Google to be able to do some analysis. But what you have in return is that you have also some information from others, and so you will, in particular, you need to check this to be able to have information about your users, such as the age and the type of interest that Google calculates according to the website your users are visiting, for example. So, except if you are paranoiac, I would say just check this. And technical support, yes, if you one day you want to ask Google to look at your accounts. Okay, so this was about the accounts. Now the property. Yeah, on the property, enable demographic and interest report. Please check this. This is where you can have the age of your users, the interest of your users. In-page analytics, use and link attribution. It's a bit technical, but if you need to know, for example, if you have in your page you have different links that link to the same page. If you want to be able to distinguish this, which link is clicked by the user, you need to check this. Okay.
I have a question.
Sure.
How does Google know the age or the gender? How does it make up this information?
Google knows everything.
Yeah, but
yeah. No, they know because they know Google is able to make a relationship between the cookie ID they put in behalf of users in the browser on the other website that the user is visiting. So, and for a lot of users, a lot of other websites also, so Google can interpret the age or the interest according to the website visited, but also to some information that other websites are giving to Google in order to do some, for example, some advertisement.
Can I ask another question there? Sure. Is the Google Analytics tool then also linked to the Google account so that they can get information for them?
No, you cannot access any individual information about your users. It's not possible. And even you can you cannot, for example, access even the age of the interest of your user if you don't have enough traffic. It's not because Google is not able to tell you, it's because Google does not want you to be able to reach, to know about the specific users. It's only a statistic. It should be only statistical for you.
Okay.
But he knows.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, about the configuration of the view. This is perhaps the most important part. First recommendation is please, you have per default all website data view. Let it like it is. Do not modify it and create new ones. If you do not modify this one, you will have a view where you will have all the information stored by Google Analytics. And so if you have any problem, you still have the opportunity to come back to this view and to check whatever happens. Okay? So create new view, and you can modify this new view. In the settings of this new view, you can, for example, choose there is a box to check if you want to exclude crawling robots. Because perhaps you don't know, but you have a lot of robots on the internet just going to your website, trying to fetch some data, and you can ask Google to do its best to not to include these page views, for example, due to robots. It's not guaranteed as 100%, but it helps. So you should check this option, because you are not interested at all at knowing what robots are doing on your website. It's not your users. You can define your time zone here also. Okay. One of the most important here is filters. On this option, you can, for example, exclude traffic from your development team. If you have 10 people working on your website, you don't want to know what they are doing on your website because it's not your classical users. So you can exclude the IPs, for example. And also you can exclude, for example, the analytics from your development website. Because if you have the same property for the development website and the production website, you don't want to analyze what your developer are doing on the development website. It's not what it's interesting for you. So you can exclude this from with the filters. Yes?
Can you also, because in referrals you get a lot of books or blogs coming to my website. Is there a way to exclude the traffic coming from
So you have a lot of robots, traffic coming from robots. So first thing is to be sure that you check this option. But it does not guarantee you that it will clean everything, because it cleans what the most non-robots. But if I do one tonight, it won't be done by Google, and I will be able to go on your website. Now it's not easy. Actually, if you are annoyed by this, you are forced to look at the robots, looking at if they are coming always from the same IP, for example, then exclude the IP, but they can come back from somewhere. There is no really bulletproof technology to avoid them. It's open, the internet, so everyone can come to see you. And it's really difficult to make the difference between robots and users if they are a bit smart. Okay, here, for example, you can, for example, separate your application on your website, on your mobile website. You can have a view for your mobile website, a view for your general website, and a view for your application, for example, in the same database. You can just decide on the filters where just some criteria just take the data just for this for example, if the mobile, you can exclude all the traffic coming from phone, for example, this type of thing. Just have a look, and you can do a lot of things. And if you have an e-commerce website, please activate this option. It will give you a lot of possibilities, in particular to a better tracking of transaction. Okay, quickly some other details. Let's see, 1 more time. Okay, still 10 minutes. Because I like this one. Time spent on the page. Google has no way to know how much time the user spent on the page really. So he's not, does not know, is not behind the computer to show the user if he stays on the page. So what Google does, for example, if a user sees page A, then a page B, he decides that the user spent in page E the difference, the duration between page E and page B, actually. Okay? So if I go to the home page, then the about, and if I arrive at the about 3 minutes after I arrive in the home page, then Google will consider that I spent 3 minutes in the home page. This is how the duration on page is calculated. Okay, the funny thing is that if page A is your last page, then Google has nothing to decide there. So Google will consider that the time spent on this page is actually 0 seconds. So be aware of that. The time spent usually calculated by Google on the last page of your website is 0 seconds. Okay? So if you are interested in knowing that, you have different options, a bit more complicated. But for example, you have the ask your developer They can, for example, send events every 10 seconds. If they send events to Google Analytics, for example, for a blog post, you send event like reading. It will help Google Analytics to know the duration, how many time the user is staying on the page. And you can also, for example, for outgoing links, if you have some links that links to outside your website, you can do some like this one. You can do actually send an event to Google Analytics before actually going to the website. Be careful. Again, if you send an event to Google Analytics just before leaving the website, probably the event will never be recorded by Google Analytics. You know, because as soon as the browser reaches the new website, it will kill the connection with Google Analytics. So if you are really interested to record a connection just before you are leaving the website, then you have to ask the developer to be very cautious. For example, to do the change of the page change after Google Analytics receive the information. It could be very quick, but sometimes your metric will be false just before your code is lost before because the page changed too early. And if I'm clear. Okay, campaign tracking. When you see this type of URL, for example, your website with UTM source equal something at Facebook, UTM medium equal display, UTM campaign equals January, then it's a way actually to tell Google Analytics when your user is coming from is using this type of URL. It tells Google Analytics to record all this information for you to be able to analyze the traffic, the specific traffic coming from this type of URL. So I'll let you do some Google search to know how it works. It's not complicated at all. It just means that if you want to track your campaign, your marketing campaign, you need to add this type of information in order to segment the traffic coming from this URL, these links. Okay. Funnel, it's if this is your goal, then you have the ability to define some steps before reaching your goal. For example, you can have a 3 steps or 4 steps funnel, and Google Analytics will be able to tell you, for example, in this case, from the home page, only 21,000, only 700 are coming to this page. Why join? And only 855 subscribe. Actually, it means probably some of them are coming from somewhere else. And after it's confirmed, it's something like 240. So you can analyze in your funnel where the problems are. So sometimes a good funnel is something like like this. If you have some very large, if you lose a lot of people in part of your funnel, then probably you should optimize this page in order to improve things. Data alerts, it's a very interesting feature. I will just let you look at the internet. A good article Savio has with Google Analytics Data Alert. It's a way to be alerted if you have some very quick change in your data. So it will tell you that something is happening in your website. So it's a way to be alerted when, for example, you have some technical difficulties, or if something happened in your website. If you see the traffic is 2 times, 3 times as usual, then you can be alerted. Annotation, it's I recommend you to use annotation. It's a very simple thing. It's basically a way to add comments at a date. So you can for example, write a comment for today saying we did this modification of the website. We know that Google Analytics has changed its implementation. We have had some technical difficulties. It will help you a lot in a few months to understand why your traffic was like this. If you want to raise money and have in January, say 7 months ago, a drop in traffic, you will have to explain why. So if you are used to not on your Google Analytics what happened, it will help you in the future to understand why the things were happening. Demographic, it's we talked about already. It's for example, Google will be able to let you know the age, on the sex, on the gender of your users, and also if they are interested in some TV lovers, music lovers, I don't know. Custom values, you have the ability, the opportunity to send your own data to Google Analytics if you want to perform some specific analysis. If you know something about your user and you want to be able to analyze this in Google Analytics, you can send it to Google Analytics specifically. One very classical example is to send the user ID. If you send the user ID to Google Analytics, you will be able to perform some requests to be able to know exactly what this user ID did in your website. It's the only way to have to follow a specific users. But you need to do that. You need, of course, you can do that only on users who subscribe to your website. And Google Analytics forbids you to send personal information. You cannot put here, for example, mobile phone or name or thing like this. It should be something that Google cannot use. Okay, and so I think it's the last slide. Most common difficulties. Subdomains, for example, www.mywebsite.co or app.mywebsite.co. If you are using the recent version of Google Analytics, there is no problem. If you are using the old version, be careful. You have to do some specific settings to have this working. I will not talk about that. Conversion, keep in mind that the goal is only one per objective per session. There's no easy way to see the individual behavior except if you put the user ID for your identified user in the custom ID, custom values. It's a bit advanced. Sampling, we did not talk about that. If you have a lot of traffic, in order to provide you all the average and all the information you will see in the dashboard, the Google Analytics will do some sampling. So it means that it will not use all the information they have because it's too long, it's too complicated. They will perform some statistical analysis to provide you the numbers. But in some cases, it can be more or less good. So you can have some difficulties with something. Last but not least, if you have a payment on a third-party platform, and it's quite often the case, it's very difficult to follow, because usually the user is going to the third-party platform, they pay there, and perhaps he comes back, perhaps not. So from the Google Analytics point of view, you have no really good way to know if the user has paid. Because sometimes the user does not come back to your platform, and you are not able to have the confirmation of the payment. That's why you have some discrepancy between the Google Analytics and your back office. There is not so much you can do about that, except implementing Google Analytics on the server side if you have a good development. Thank you very much. I'll show you slides with Google Analytics. And if you have, we have a lot of drawings. We're happy to discuss, and if you have some